Namas Sarvebhyaha Sarvesham Hardam Swagatam. We'll start the class by chanting after chanting the Prarthana Shlokas. Krishno Rakshaduman Chara Chara Guruhu Krishnan Namasyamyaham Krishnena Mara Shatrabo Vinikataha Krishnaya Tasmai Namaha Krishna Deva Samuthitan Jagadidam Krishnasya Dasosmyaham Krishne Bhaktira Chanchalastu Bhagavan He Krishna Tubhyan Namaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gita Mrtatuke Namaha Vasudeva Sutandevam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishna Vande Jagat Gurum Sarvesham Punas Swagatam. So yesterday we were we are dealing with this 63rd sloka. Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrishyai tatasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. So this sloka, thus as the wisdom, jnanam, wisdom more profound than all profundities, the profoundest of all jnanam has been declared to you by me. Reflect upon it fully and then act as you choose. Bhagavan is giving the freedom for choosing to act or not to Arjuna. He is not taking a decision for Arjuna. So here, yesterday we saw that truth can be profound truths, very difficult to understand, and also truths which are hidden, which is known to some people and hidden to others. So that kind of both kind of truths are there. So the laws of nature, our real nature, that is what we are living in, are profound and secret, both profound and secret. So we know some of them, and science has brought to light many of the secrets of this world, of this nature. Many are still unknown, and it is an ongoing process of science is revealing day by day the facts of the nature. But this is all in this is all in the secular knowledge, knowledge of the environment, knowledge of the Prakriti. That's all. It doesn't deal with the other knowledge, that is deals with the divine. So that is Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya, it doesn't deal with that. That is a separate Vidya. So its purpose, the Brahma Vidya, knowledge, its purpose is to take the human beings from death to immortality, to give liberation. That is that Vidya. So in its practical aspect, it comes as some instructions. As you have seen in Vedas, you have got instructions. All these Vedas are made up of practically nature only. What will happen in the nature, which the earlier rishis have observed, and they were those days there were no other attractions, so we were continuously thinking about this, meditating on this, and experiencing. So based on that, they have given very, very fundamental truths, which are very, very supreme, and which are accepted as the rule, the main principle even today. So superstition and all has no base in those things. Vedas and all, they don't have any superstitions. All real facts only, proved and experienced facts only. So, and man is given the freedom to investigate the validity of that science, Brahma Vidya. He can either accept them or he can reject them. But those are facts, inviolable facts. Nobody can deny those things. And freedom is one faculty that is given to human beings. Freedom from physical freedom, mental freedom, spiritual freedom, ethical, all freedoms are there. They can choose and they can go on investigating. And if they find those principles are acceptable, they can follow them. Otherwise, they can continue to investigate and get to the act what is required for them. So Sri Krishna is the embodiment of the principles of yoga. So he is called the Yogeshwara, Ishvara of yoga, because he has embodied all the principles of the yoga is embodied in Sri Krishna. That's why he is called Yogeshwara. And a personality becomes great to the extent he adheres, he follows principles. He has principles. So if he follows principles, he becomes great. And a seeker of the truth especially has to follow principles. He cannot avoid principles. And that is what Sri Krishna is asking Arjuna to do. We'll continue.
Pushpa Bhagini.
Iti te jnanamakyatam.
Iti te jnanamakyatam. Iti te jnanamakyatam.
Guhyat guhyataram maya.
Guhyat guhyataram maya. Guhyat guhyataram maya.
Vimrshyaita dasheshena.
Vimrushayaita sheshena. Vimrushayaita sheshena.
Vimrshyaita dasheshena.
Vimrushayaita sheshena. Vimrushayaita sheshena.
No. Vimrshyaita dasheshena.
Vimrushayaita sheshena.
Vimrshyai. This is Isya. Vimrshyaita dasheshena.
Vimrushayaita sheshena.
Asheshana means without any doubt, you investigate, you find out the truth in behind those principles. Vimrshyaita dasheshena. Without any doubt, you clarify and convince yourself. Yathechasi tatha kuru.
Yathechasi tatha kuru. Yathechasi tatha kuru.
What you want to do, you can do after investigating and fully convincing yourself. Whatever you feel, you can do. That's what Bhagavan says to Arjuna. We continue.
Thank you.
So many.
Devi Chitra Bhagini.
Ite jnanamakyatam.
Idite jnanamakyatam. Idite jnanamakyatam.
Guhyat guhyataram maya.
Guhyat guhyataram maya. Guhyat guhyataram maya.
Vimrshyaita dasheshena.
Vimurshyaita daseshena. Vimurshyaita daseshena.
Vimrshyaita dasheshena.
Vimurushyai
Together.
Vimrusyai tadaseshena.
Yathechasi tatha kuru.
Yathechasi tatha kuru. Yathechasi tatha kuru.
Vinoda Bhagini.
Ite jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya.
Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya. Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya.
Vimrshyaita dasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru.
Vimrushaita dasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. Vimrushaita dasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru.
Uttam.
Vilavarasi Bhagini.
Ite jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya.
Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya. Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya.
Vimrshyaita dasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru.
Vimrshyaita dasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. Vimrshyaita dasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru.
Well done.
Lakshmi Kiran Bhagini.
Ite jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya. Vimrshyaita dasheshena यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु.
इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं गुह्याद्युगुहत्यर
गुह्याद् गुह्यतरम्.
गुह्या इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं गुह्याद् गुह्यतरं मया विमृशैतदशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु.
उत्तमम्.
मीनाक्षी भगिनी.
इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं गुह्याद्गुह्यतरं मया विमृश्यैतदशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु.
उत्तमम्. Continue. सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमौ वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्. So here Bhagavan says, listen again to my supreme word. Sarvaguhyatamam, that is Bhuyaga. Shrunume Paramo Vachaka, my supreme word. This Paramam Vachaka, supreme word. Again, listen a Bhuyaga again. Again, listen to me that supreme word, profoundest of all, profound Sarvaguhyatamam, or profoundest of all supreme words. Listen to me again. Ishtos ime drithamiti, you are beloved to me. You are beloved of me. Ishtos me, you are beloved to me and steadfast at heart. Drithamiti, you are steadfast at heart and you are well loved. You are loved by me. That we get. You are beloved to me, dear to me, and therefore, I shall tell you what is for your good. Tado vakshyami te hitam. I will tell you what is good for you because I like you, or you are beloved to me, and you are steadfast. So therefore, I want to tell you what is this supreme paramam vachaka, that is supreme words. So there are various principles governing human life. The ordinary ones people can grasp and they can understand and they can follow, but profound ones will not be understood by many people. Profound secrets. So we need a lot of mental preparation for that to understand those principles, profound principles. So, and Arjuna at this point of time, he was deluded. He was not ready to take up arms and fight, and he was deluded, and that very distressed state. So Arjuna appealed to Lord at the Shreyas to be taught him. What is Shreyas? There are two things, Shreyas and Preyas. Shreyas is ultimately it is good for everybody. It will turn out to be good for everyone. Shreyas. But prayers will give you immediate enjoyment and pleasures, and on a later day, it will do harm. It will give immediate pleasure and do harm later. Whereas Shreyas will always end up in giving a good to everybody. So that Lord was still then a companion to Arjuna. He became the Guru, and Arjuna became a disciple. And he wanted to know the core of Shreyas. What is Shreyas? Then he told this Paramam Vachaka. Shrunume Paramam Vachaka. That is supreme word. Same as the Mahavakya. In the Upanishads, we have got Mahavakya. That is utterances of rishis in the Upanishads. Mahavakya is called same as Mahavakya. So Lord himself makes this conclusive statement. Lord himself is making this statement. So the spiritual truths, the natural truths, of course, some are known to us, some are still scientists are working on it, and we are going to know that is the secular knowledge, but the spiritual knowledge is concealed in the heart of persons, of every being, and also incomprehensible. You cannot understand what are the supreme secrets inside our own hearts, except some advanced people who are advanced in the spiritual line. They may be knowing what is inside the heart of people. So the Lord is residing in the hearts of all. That's what we have seen earlier also. And he is a steadfast friend of everybody. God is a steadfast friend of everybody. His grace is ever at work to uplift beings. His grace is always there. And the nature also helps, outside nature also helps beings in the spiritual upliftment, spiritual growth. And the grace of the Lord is the greatest spiritual catalyst, you can say, catalyst, the grace of the Lord. It can convert a base man, very, very low-class man into a very exalted position. It can convert, grace of the Lord. So it's possible. So when the divine touch is capable, it can make wonders. The divine grace is there, it can create wonders. So Sri Krishna exhibited this. He made flutes out of bamboo pieces or reed, what we call the reeds. With that simple reed, he used to make flutes and he used to make music, which mesmerized all the gopis and people of Vrindavan. He used to mesmerize them by simple thing, nature, what is occurring in the nature. That is his touch. That is the touch of Bhagavan. So what he cannot do to a human being, he can do wonders on a human material. So that will be known in the next stanza. Continue.
Malini Bhagini.
Sarva guhyatamam bhuyaham.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः
Shrinu me paramau vachaha.
शृणु मे परमौ वचः शृणु मे परमौ वचः
Ishtosi me dridhamiti.
इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति
Tato vakshyami te hitam.
ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितं ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितं
Uttam.
Thank you.
Anita Bhagini.
Sarva guhyatamam bhuyaham.
Hare Krishna. Sarva guhyatam bhuyah. Sarva guhyatam bhuyah.
Shrinu me paramau vachaha.
Shurnu me paramam vachah. Shurnu me paramam vachah.
Ishtosi me dridhamiti.
Ishtosi me dranamiti. Ishtosi me dranamiti.
Tato vakshyami te hitam.
Tato vakshyami te hitam. Tato vakshyami te hitam. Sarva guhyatam bhuyah. Shranu me param vachah. Ishtosi me dranmiti. Tato vakshyami te hitam.
Uttam.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Prabhuji.
Padma Jagan Bhagini.
Sarva guhyatamam bhuyah. Shrinu me paramau vachaha.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमवचः सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमवचः
Ishtosi me dridhamiti. Tato vakshyami te hitam.
इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम् इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्
Uttam. Well done.
Anasuya Bhagini.
Sarva guhyatamam bhuyah. Shrinu me paramau vachaha.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमौ वचः सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमौ वचः
Ishtosi me dridhamiti. tato vakshyami te hitam.
इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम् इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम् धन्यवाद
Padma Vishwanathan Bhagini.
Sarvaguhyatamam bhuyah shृणु me paramau vachah ishtosi me dridhamiti tato vakshyami te hitam.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमौ वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्
Uttam.
Hema Bhagini.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे भरतर्षभ इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्.
I
Sorry,
think
Madhya.
there was some difficult difference here. Once again.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे भरतर्षभ.
Is it Pardarshabha?
Yeah.
Ayyo. It's Param Vachaha.
Okay. Param Vachaha. Okay.
Paramau Vachaha.
Param Vachaha. I was like thinking why a difference in my thing. Ishtosi me dridhamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. It is Parau Vachaha.
Paramau Vachaha.
Paramau Vachaha. Okay, now.
One more person can chant this.
Lakshmi HS Bhagini.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमं वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्. धन्यवाद.
Next sloka. So what is this Shreyas? Shreyas, that is the good for Arjuna, expounded by the Lord. Manmana bhava madbhaktaha madhyaji mannamaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me. So here Bhagavan says, fix your mind on me. Fix your manmana bhava madbhakta. Manmana bhava. That is, fixing your mind on me. Be devoted to me. Madbhaktaha. Devoted to me and sacrifice to me. Madhyaji. Sacrifice to me and prostrate before me. Man namaskuru. Namaskuru. He says, Mame, and you shall come to me. This is my pledge to you. My assurance, satyante pratijane, I assurance to you, and you will come to me, shall come to me, for you are dear to me. Priyosi me. Again, Bhagavan is telling you are dear to me. Earlier also he said, beloved, dear to me. So here Bhagavan, manmana bhava madbhakta. Fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, sacrifice to me, prostrate before me. So shall you come to me. This is my pledge to you, for you are dear to me. This is what Bhagavan says in this sloka. So truth and God are identical. Truth is God. God is truth. Therefore, whatever comes from him, from God, must be truth. Even it must be truth. So the Lord declares the bare truth about himself and his relationship with Jivatman. Very fundamental truth about himself and his relationship with the Jivatman. The sole object, the real purpose of his being embodied, his being taking this incarnation as Sri Krishna. The whole purpose of his taking this incarnation is to tell this truth to the world. To tell this truth to the world. What is his relationship with Jivatman? What is he and what is his relationship with Jivatman? To tell this truth, Bhagavan has taken this incarnation. So this is what is explained here. And the Lord's statement that you are dear to me, see, Priyosime, dear to me, is important. That a lot of meaning is there. In fact, all beings are dear to Ishvara. Bhagavan is telling only about Arjuna, but in that place, all are dear to Bhagavan. So when required purification is effected, when you get the real, your mind is purified, you are fully absorbed in that love. It becomes evident that you generate love for everything. You see Bhagavan everywhere, and you tend to have love for everything. That love will pervade once you reach that stage of accepting everybody as a form of Brahman. We have got this Dvaita, Visishta Dvaita, and Advaita systems of various typical modes of philosophies are there. All these philosophies are for establishing relationship between the Jivatman and the Paramatman. Love is found in all the three. In all the three patterns, love is the essential element. So it asserts the truth that Jivatman and the Paramatman are ever linked, combined together. It is the greatest unifying force. Progress culminates in perfect union. When Jivatman merges with Paramatman, perfection is complete and the progress also complete. That ends there. Progress, there is no more progress there. Love leads the Jivatman, the pinnacle, the culmination of eternal union with the Paramatman. So when we develop that love, the process of joining with the Paramatman is finding its a culmination or the end of it. So it is with the grace of the Lord that we get at the Lord. By His grace only, we make endeavors to get at Him. The grace of the Lord is the one boon that is ever available to man. As the devotion to the Lord increases, the devotee more imbibes the qualities of the Lord. And in the case of gopis, they thought that each gopi thought that she herself was Sri Krishna. So all this, and this is the goal to which pure devotion leads the devotee. The gopis think themselves as Sri Krishna. So this is the goal of the pure devotion that leads the devotee. And to a devotee, nothing in the world is dearer than his Lord. And that is what we have seen here in this. God is everything, and that attaining that love for everything, for Brahman, that is the culmination of our progress. And prostration is a mark of subordinating or subjecting oneself, individuality to the greatness of the another. When you prostrate before somebody, you are submitting himself or subordinating, or you are making yourself lesser than the other person for their greatness or for their seniority, etc. So the devotee delights in prostrating himself before the Lord, because God is the truth only. So from truth is prostrating. The more the prostration, more before the adorable being of the thing, the greater is the bliss enjoyed by the devotee. So more and more you prostrate before Lord, the more and more with that feeling that you are, that is truth, in front of truth you are prostrating. So you'll become more and more, you'll experience joy and also peace. This is what Bhagavan says here in this sloka. So we'll continue.
Varalakshmi Bhagini.
Manmana bhavamat bhaktaham.
Varalakshmi Bhagini. Vatsala Bhagini.
Yes. Manmana bhava bhaktah. Manmana bhava bhaktah.
Madhyaji man namaskuru.
Madhyaji man namaskuru. Madhyaji man namaskuru.
Mame vaishyasi satyante.
Mame vaishyasi satyante. Mame vaishyasi satyante.
Pratijane priyosi me.
Pratijane priyosi me. Pratijane priyosi me.
Uttam.
I was chanting without unmuting, sir.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Vatsala Bhagini.
Manmana bhava mat bhaktaha.
Manmana bhava madbhaktaha. Manmana bhava madbhaktaha.
Madhyaji man namaskuru.
Madhyajivan namaskuru. Madhyajiman namaskuru.
Mame vaishyasi satyante.
Mame vaishyati satyante. Mame vaishyasi satyante.
Pratijane priyosi me.
Pratijane priyosi me. Pratijane priyosi me.
Uttam.
Prema Shriram Bhagini.
Manmana bhava mat bhaktaha. Madhyaji man namaskuru.
Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyaji man namaskuru. Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyaji man namaskuru.
Mame vaishyasi satyante. Pratijane priyosi me.
Mami vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me. Mami vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me. Thank you.
Nagamani Bhagini.
Manmana bhava mat bhaktaha. Madhyaji man namaskuru.
Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyajiman namaskuru. Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyajiman namaskuru.
Mame vaishyasi satyante. Pratijane priyosi me.
Mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me. Mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me.
Uttam.
धन्यवाद.
Gholap Mahodaya.
Manmana bhava mat bhaktaha. Madhyaji man namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi satyante. Pratijane priyosi me.
Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyaji man namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me.
Priyosi me.
Priyosi me.
This is Dirka. Priyosi me. Like that.
Priyosi me.
Uttam. This is also Dirka. All these ne are Dirkas. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyaji man namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me.
Uttam.
धन्यवाद.
Raghunath Mahodaya.
Manmana bhava madbhaktah madhyaji man namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me.
Uttam. Well, next sloka. So what is that eternal and the life redeeming, life uplifting or saving the life, a message that comes from the Lord? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanau vraja ahantva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. So one says, renounce all dharmas, sarva dharman parityaja, renounce all dharmas and take refuge in me alone. Mamekam sharanam vraja, take refuge in me only. Ahantva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami, that I will liberate you from all your sins. I will liberate you. I will give you free, I will give you freedom, or I will free you from all your sins. And grieve not, ma shuchaha, don't worry, grieve not. Bhagavan says here. So, any embodied soul or jivatma has to do karma. We know that we have seen a number of times, repeatedly we have seen. We have any embodied being, that is the living beings, they are bound by their karmas. So we cannot avoid karmas. So that karma is called dharma, which proves helpful to Jivatman in his Godward progress. That karma, same karma becomes dharma when this helpful for Jivatman to progress towards God. So, so on the attainment of that Godhood, after attaining Godhood, the helpful dharma itself has to be renounced. Dharma has to be renounced because you have achieved your purpose, you have reached Godhood, and its purpose is fully served. When you reach Godhood, that dharma is not required, you have achieved your purpose. So surrendering himself to the Lord is the culmination, is the ending of all endeavors of the Jivatman. And also self-surrender is verily self-fulfillment, self-surrender. And the will of the Jivatman merges in the will of the Lord. The will and the doings of the Jivatman are in reality very minuscule tasks of the will of the Lord only. The will and the doings of Jivatman are minuscule works of the Lord only. So Karma Yoga raises the sadhaka to the realization of this pleasant and beneficial position, that he is the will and the doings are the will and the doings of Bhagavan only, and this realization takes him to the pleasant and beneficial position. So it results in self-surrender. Self-surrender. So on the other hand, a bhakta, bhakti yoga, a bhakta on the other hand is ever depending on his Lord. The good and the evil that befall him, that comes to him, are all viewed by him as the will of the Lord. If good comes, that is the will of the Lord. If bad comes, that also the will of the Lord. The bhakta feels himself as non-separate from the Lord. He is one with the Lord always. Rather, he loses his individuality in the absorbing love of the Maker. So intense thought of God is the self-surrender of the bhakta. Intense thought of the God is the self-surrender. There, the will and the doings of a karma yogi is surrender to Bhagavan. Here, the intense thought of God is the self-surrender of the bhakta. And the jnana yoga, the dawn of knowledge, that is the rising of knowledge in a jnani who follows the jnana yoga, is also a form of self-surrender or an act of taking refuge in the Lord. The actions known as dharma and adharma belong to the prakriti. Dharma, adharma belong to the prakriti. They do not in the least affect the pure consciousness, which is the background of the individual. So he who identifies himself with the pure consciousness renounces everything or the limited upadhis and all he renounces, and what persists in him is only that great awareness of that pure consciousness, which sees no distinctions between internal and the external. The attainment of this supreme state is the act of taking refuge in the Lord. So all three cases, taking refuge in the Lord by their the path they have taken, they are merged. They are actually surrendering to the Lord. The state of self-surrender or the act of taking refuge in the Lord is achieved by the yogi, karma yogi, the bhakta, and the jnani is one and the same. The Lord, the one reality, is defined in three different ways. Bhagavan is expressed in three different ways. Satchidananda, governed by the characteristics of the paths. The yogi merges himself in the Sat aspect of the reality, and the jnani merges with the Chit, Satchidananda. So, and the bhakta blooms in the Ananda aspect of it. So, reality aspect of it, Chitta aspect of it, and the Ananda aspect of it. So they surrender themselves and they realize Brahman. So here, in this present case, Arjuna is the immediate recipient of this message of the Lord. He is directly receiving this message from the Lord, which is eternal and universal. As you know, it is eternal, permanent, and years after years, it is still a message to everyone, and it's universal also. It is not pertaining to one country, it is universal. It applies to all the souls that are searching their way to Godward. They are searching their way towards God. So this applies to all these souls. In the second chapter, Bhagavan says to Arjuna, cast off weakness, throw away your weakness, wake up with manliness, he told, and discharge your dharma. That's what Bhagavan told Arjuna in the second chapter. The second chapter is a very important chapter. Some people say the second chapter is the most important chapter in the whole of Bhagavad Gita. So this thing's advice starts from there only, second chapter only. So in that chapter, Bhagavan is telling Arjuna to throw away the weaknesses and to rise up and to fight the war. But his message in this chapter is renounce all dharma and be in eternal union with me. Take refuge in me and renounce all dharma and be in eternal union with me. So in that chapter, he told to do his dharma, and these days renounce all dharma and the eternal union with me. Is again his conclusion. So the intervening teachings that we came across, all the 16 chapters in between, all the means to cross over from karma to the beatitude, that is supreme bliss, which is beyond the karma. So his teachings become very clear to all aspirants, to all people who take refuge in him and seek enlightenment from him. Self-surrender ultimately leads to the union of the Jivatman and the Paramatman. This is what Bhagavan says. That is what is told in this sloka. We'll continue.
Kalavati Bhagini.
Sarva dharman parityajya.
Kalavati Bhagini.
Sarvadharman parityajya. Sarvadharman parityajya.
Mamekam sharanau vraja.
Mamekam saranam vraja. Mamekam saranam vraja.
Vraja.
Vraja. Mamekam saranam vraja.
Ahantva sarva papebhyaha.
Agam tva sarva papebhyaha. Agam tva sarva papyeha.
Sarva papebhyaha.
Sarva papyeha.
Papebhyaha.
Papebhyaha. Agam tva sarva papebhyaha. Agam tva sarva papebhyaha. Agam tva sarva papebhyaha.
Pebhyaha.
Pebhyaha. Pebhyaha.
Agam
tva sarva papebhyaha. Agam tva sarva papebhyaha.
Mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
Mokshayishyami ma chusaha. Mokshayishyami ma chusaha. Dhanyavad.
Malini Bhagini.
Sarva dharman parityajya.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य
Mamekam sharanau vraja.
मामेकं शरणौ व्रज मामेकं शरणौ व्रज
Ahantva sarva papebhyaha.
अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः
Mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः
Uttam.
Vinoda Bhagini.
Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanau pracha.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज
Aham tva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः
Uttam.
धन्यवाद
Meenakshi Ramurthy Bhagini.
Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanau vraja.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज
Aham tva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
अहं त्वा सर्वपापे मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि
Raghunath Mahodaya.
Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanau vraja. Aham tva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणौ व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः
Uttam.
Lakshmi Kiran Bhagini.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः
Uttam.
One doubt I have, sir.
Yes.
Sir, the second pada, Mame Gam, Charanam, Sha is coming, Mame Ganj. It will not.
Shah will not come. Mame come only. Mame Shah, there is no this thing. Rule is not there.
Okay, okay.
Mame come Sharanau Vraja. Here rule is Sharanau Vraja.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So the spiritual message of Bhagavan is over. With that stanza, the spiritual message of the Bhagavad Gita is over there. Now a question arises as to who are the persons that are fit to study and practice this teaching. What should be fit for practicing and reading and practicing this teaching? Universal though it is universal application only, but who are all fit. So answer comes. The competency for following the Gita. Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushabe vachyam na cha mayopya suyati. The idante, there is that principal rule, idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushabe Nacha shushrushabe vachyam nacha mayo. Here there is aniswara mayobhya suyati. So here, this is never to be spoken by you to one who is devoid of austerities. Who doesn't have austerity, you should not speak this passage to such a person. Nor to one who is not devoted. Don't reveal this truth of this message to those people, nor to one who does not do service. Who does not do service, nor to one who speaks ill of me. These 3-4 kinds of people, that is, who is devoid of austerities, who is not devoted, and who does not do service, and who speaks ill of me, don't reveal this secret to those people. So the Bhagavad Gita is a compilation of all the principles governing the ethical and spiritual life of man. It governs every aspect of life of a person. The Lord's supreme motive is to make these teachings available to all the aspirants. He wants to make it everybody. And Bhagavan says the teachings of the Gita do no good to those who are devoid of austerity and disciplined life. It will do no good to them if they are not following not following austerity, and they are not leading a disciplined life. So, perfect life of a man ought to be directed to the cultivation of devotion to the Lord. The perfect life of a man. So, bhakti sanctifies the human life and renders austerity purposeful. The nature of bhakti is unconditionally given, and no this is attached to that. The devotee expresses love in the form of service. He delights in serving and not in being served. The best utility to which the human body can be put is a wholehearted service to others. That is the best use of this human body. So, finally, all these practices, merits, have to be dominated by the thought of divinity, that is manifesting itself in all these forms. You have to see the divinity everywhere. When we're doing all these, performing all actions, divinity everywhere. So, that's what Bhagavan says here. And he who is devoid of austerity, devotion, service, and faith in the inherent divinity of man derives no benefit from the pursuit of the Bhagavad Gita. And the word Ashushrushabe, you see, Nacha Ashushrushabe, that is become Chashushrushabe. Ashushrushabe has two meanings here. Ashushrushabe. So he who does not render service. One meaning, Ashushrushabe, who does not render service, and he who does not care to listen and follow is another meaning. One, he who does not do service, and the another one who does not care to listen and follow these principles is another meaning of this word, Ashushrushabe. So, but Bhagavan says here, it should not be imposed on anyone. These teachings should not be imposed on anyone. One should, by one's own voluntarily, you should follow these principles. After understanding, fully understanding, should follow these principles. That's what Bhagavan says here. Continue.
Pushpa Bhagini.
Idante na tapaskaya.
Idante na tapaskaya. Idante na tapaskaya.
Na bhaktaya kadachana.
Na bhaktaya kadachana. Na bhaktaya kadachana.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam. Na cha shushrushave vachyam.
Na cha mayobhya suyati.
Na cha mayobhya suyati. Na cha mayobhya suyati. Dhanyavad.
Devi Chitra Bhagini.
Idante na tapaskaya.
Idante na tapaskaya. Idante na tapaskaya.
Na bhaktaya kadachana.
Na bhaktaya kadachana. Na bhaktaya kadachana.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam. Na cha shushrushave vachyam.
Na cha mayobhya suyati.
Na cha mayobhya suyati. Na cha mayobhya suyati.
Na cha mayobhya suyati.
Na cha mayobhya suyati.
Uttam.
Dhanyavad.
Padma Vishwanathan Bhagini.
Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana.
Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana. Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati. Na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Uttam.
Ilavarasi Bhagini.
Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana.
Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana. Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati. Na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Uttam.
Hema Bhagini.
Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana. Na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Uttam.
Kanchana Bhagini.
Idante na tapaskaya abhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Uttam. Chant Shlokas. What we did today. Iti te jnanamakhyātam guhyāt guhyataram maya vimrishyaitat sheshena yathechasi tatha kuru sarva guhyatamam bhuyaha shrinu me paramau vachaha ishtosi me dridhamiti tato vakshyami te hitam manmana bhava bhaktaha Madhyaji namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanau vraja ahantva sarva papebhyaha mokshayishyami ma shuchaha idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati. Samabhyamata. We'll conclude with the Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhanyavadaga. Punarmilamaka. Ram Ram Ram.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ